Hi, I'm Susanna Kalcic, and you're listening to Life in Practice podcast. I'm curious about the big questions in life and how we can experience more meaning and fulfillment every day. Join me as my guests share their challenges, successes, and what it means to put our purpose, our values, and our lives in practice. Hello and welcome to Life in Practice podcast. This is your host, Susanna. And today my guest is Enna. She's a customer experience expert and a public speaking coach. Welcome, Enna.
Thank you, Susie. Thanks for having me.
And she's a good friend of mine as well. So I'm really excited to have you on here today. And we actually met, although this is how we connected, was through our shared public speaking journey. And we both met at the same Toastmasters club. And maybe let's just start there. How did you end up there? Because you seem like very confident, full on, but it wasn't actually always all like that, was it?
No, not at all. So Toastmasters was actually not a planned experience for me. It was because I had done a presentation in a new role with my boss. And during the presentation, I just felt so nervous and anxious at the thought of doing really well. And after the presentation, my boss said to me, he didn't pull me aside, he said to me, you're a really good presenter, but I think you could do really well if you went to Toastmasters. And he had been a president at his local club in Islington, and he is a good presenter, and I'd seen that, the confidence that he had, and I thought, well, if he thinks it's good, he's been a president, I trust his decisions, so why don't I try it? And I think he had tried to get a few other colleagues into Toastmasters, and they had gone, and they thought, well, it's not right for them. But I went, as you know, and I loved it. So it's just this little community, Susie, of really friendly people, supportive, and you feel really safe. And I just it's very much a life-changing experience for me.
Yeah, same for me. I can definitely agree with that. So can you take me back a bit? Because you went there initially because you had social anxiety. Can you talk to me a bit about that?
Yeah, of course I can. So going to Toastmasters, I didn't realise that the club itself was a club that was specialising in people who had, a stammer or social anxiety. And going to the club, lots of people were saying that they had social anxiety and sharing their experiences of being super nervous, not able to speak, scattered minds and thoughts when they were asked to speak impromptu. So then I realised actually the feelings that I've been having of feeling isolated, feeling like I don't have a voice, feeling like I can't be myself was all connected to what was going on in my head around this anxiety. And yes, it happened a lot in social settings. So in settings where I wasn't familiar with the people I was speaking to, it may have been a social setting. We say social anxiety, but actually it wasn't just social settings. It was being in professional settings as well. So people who may have been more senior than me, people who I really respected their opinion of. I thought they're super intelligent. I don't want to make myself look stupid in front of them. Even at sometimes being, in a new relationship at that time, thinking actually, what does this person think of me? And feeling like I need to say things in a really confident, structured way that makes me look like I know what I'm talking about. So the link between me going to Toastmasters and what was going on in my head was just super timely. It just was right for me at that time. And then the kind of practice at Toastmasters is exposure, isn't it? You keep on practicing, you hone in on whatever is stopping you from communicating, and you do that with people that are experiencing the same things as you, and then you get better at it. So for me, the social anxiety played a massive part in stopping me from achieving things that I wanted to do later on in life. And you and I have spoken about this. It wasn't something that I've always suffered from. You know, I have been super confident my whole life, really. And that might be because, you know, I've got an older sister. I'm the younger, cheeky sibling. You know, I get away with a lot of things. But then when I turned 35, mid-30s, you know, everything changed. Ended a long-term relationship, new job, new relationship, new home, you know, new circle of people that I was meeting at the time. Suddenly, all of these changes hit me at one go. And I was then like, what do I do? Like, who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want to really achieve? And that's when it was like, I don't know what I'm doing, kind of thing. And in my head, I was internalizing all of these thoughts that were, you're not good enough. You're not going to be able to achieve this. Don't go for it even. You know, don't even try. And that's when Toastmasters was the place to help me. But we've also spoken about being in an environment that you have a circle of people who are your support network, be that your working relationships, your boss, your colleagues, who are a massive support, family, obviously a massive support, and then your partner. You know, you've got to be in tune with your partner, focused on the same. Well, you don't have to be focused on the same things, but actually focused on the same goal is super important, I think.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about your story is that you've experienced this kind of loss of confidence and anxiety at a later age, because most people tend to be kind of carrying things like from their childhood, or they had more difficult experiences growing up. So it's really interesting to hear that actually, you know, it can happen when you are older.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, you know, mental health, we are affected every day by what's going on in our head, by what's happening in our surroundings. And it can be just a flick of a switch. Something happens where one day you're super confident and the next day you're like, oh.
Yeah, you can swear, by the way.
I'm not super confident. I'm not the person who I have been in the past. And it's just what plays in your head. Those internal messages that you have play out in reality.
So when did you kind of realize that your like self-talk or your mindset started to kind of take you downwards, you know, because we spoke earlier, like, you know, you're like really confident, and like at the age of 27 you're already at the head of a department in your workplace. So you seem to be like having a real strong really strong upwards trajectory. And then how did those thoughts start to like creep in for you, that okay, maybe you don't have what it takes, or maybe this and that? Because I imagine like maybe it's kind of, was it like a slow process for you, or was it just like one day it was just, you know, it was kind of all hit you at once?
Yeah, I think that firstly, I think where it's coming from is from a place of wanting to achieve more. Because if I was happy staying in the same place, then I would be happy being the same person and not evolving. So I think the kind of expectations that I have of what I want to achieve for me and my family is not where I am, if that makes sense. Like, I always want to do better. Me and my partner have conversations about this all the time. What is our version of success? And his version of success is different to mine, in terms of, you know, we are in a okay place at the moment, but actually I want, you know, more things, and he wants more things, but we kind of are like, I would be okay having a flashy car, but he would be like, no. So we kind of meet halfway in the middle, and determined by our means, of course. So firstly, it's what is someone's definition of success, and are they happy to stay in the same place that they have stayed in the past? And if they're not happy to stay in the same place, which is what happened to me, then you have to challenge yourself with what you do, how you behave as a person, and what you can achieve. And therefore, if you're not in a place where you think, actually, I can achieve what I want to achieve, you then think, oh, how do I get to that place? And a lot of times people don't know how to get to that place. And that's where I think with me, it started to internalize of, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. You know, there are people all around me who are achieving things in my mind, and I'm not. Why not? So this whole journey hasn't been like an overnight realization that, yes, you know, my communication, my anxiety, my confidence needs to be changed. It's been a journey of really putting myself out there, you know, with Toastmasters, going in super nervous, being sat at the back, to then, you know, working my way through the ranks at Toastmasters, because there are ranks in terms of levels and, you know, skills that you can learn in the different roles, to then becoming a president of the club. And, you know, what really happened was, in my life, in work, whatever I was learning in Toastmasters or at work were really, really aligned. So the more confident I got, you know, in one place, I was getting more confident in the other place. So it wasn't like I was wearing a mask. It was just slowly, bit by bit, I was able to go that little bit further over a line that I thought, actually, that's really uncomfortable. I don't want to go over that line. But I just kept on going into that uncomfortable zone, exposing myself, I guess, to being not ridiculed, because I don't think the people around me would do that, but getting it wrong. So you have to be willing to get it wrong, to fail, to then say, actually, I've learned that lesson. You know, next time I'm going to do it like this, or next time I'm going to try this. And yes, I might fail, but at least I've tried, and at least I can say that I've been there. And I think that everything in life, you know, at the moment I'm struggling to do exercise, you know, put on a bit of weight, you know, because we're eating all the time. We're at home, the fridge is just there, you know. And so it's like, how do I get back into a healthy exercise routine? So I am really struggling to do that. So bit by bit, it's like 7 minutes a day of, you know, a bit of exercise, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes. So at the moment, I'm at 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good start. But yeah, just like when I hear you talk about this feeling of, you know, you have your idea of what success is, and then you're kind of always kind of like yearning for a certain point in life, or to achieve a certain thing, and the issues that can have an effect on our mental health.
Yeah.
Kind of this need to constantly improve, to you know, always like reach this goal and that goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering maybe if there's a balance between self-acceptance, but also kind of pushing yourself to achieve that next goal, or, you know, or whatever it is that you want to experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely a balance, because I guess that for me, what's happened during COVID, you realise what's really important. You know, it's family, it's experiences, it's memories, it's all of those really important things that when you get to your deathbed, you're not going to think, oh yes, that brilliant watch, or that brilliant, you know, room in that house with that fantastic wallpaper. You're not going to think of that. You're going to think of your family, your loved ones, and the memories that you share with them. So for me, I think there is an absolute balance, and I guess for me, I've always felt a responsibility towards my family. And so in order to work really hard, I then achieve certain things which enable me to do certain things with my family. And so it's a cycle of, okay, well, I'm at work, so actually I can't really see you, mum and dad, or my sister or my nephew, because I'm really working hard tonight. But you've got to be able to say, and I've got to be able to say, actually, you know what? There's a line to this. I'm going to walk away, and this time is for my family. So there is an absolute balance, Susie, but it's realising that balance. And I think that for a lot of people, they will only get to a certain level of, success, and then they'll say, I'm here, I'm where I want to get to. Now I can take my foot off the gas a little bit and enjoy it. And that's where we kind of are now, although we're not where we want to be. We're kind of like, well, actually, what's the point of having, I don't want to sound like I'm boasting or anything, but what's the point of having, property, your money tied up in property, when actually you can go and enjoy that money with your family or help your family to do things that they want to do as well. And that's where I'm at. Like, I'd rather enjoy what I've achieved now, because when I'm 65, I'm not going to have people here in my life that I have in my life today that I can enjoy things with. So it's been a real game changer in terms of my decisions on how I spend my time and spend, the success that, it's not masses of success, it's just my own success that I've achieved in my life up until this point with my family. And that's what's important. So I have to stick to my guns now, because I've said it. I've said that I want to do this. I want to, go and buy a house in Italy. I want to, support my family. I want to do certain things to get them to where they want to get to, in order for them to be happy as well. But they have to do their own work to some extent.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we're all responsible for our own happiness.
Yeah,
we can't put that responsibility on others.
Yeah,
and expect them to do everything for us.
Yeah, and we can't do everything for them, but we can definitely help. We can definitely, and this is the whole thing of, if you look back, I don't know about your background, too much, but my background was, family came over to the UK in the 70s. Mum's from the Philippines, dad's from Kashmir, Pakistan side. So they didn't have anything when they came in the 70s. They basically worked their asses off and didn't really get anything out of that, because the jobs that they worked in weren't, highly paid jobs. Dad was a head chef. Mum, she was a mum, and she had different jobs, admin jobs, call centre jobs types of thing. So for me, having an ability to support my family and make sure that, my nephew has things that I didn't have, that is important to me, because I want to, make sure that what I'm learning or what I'm earning is not just for me, it's actually for my family as well.
So would you say that growing up kind of in a working class environment, like your parents came from different countries and different cultures, has that been kind of a driving force for you then to reach or like to aim for high success?
Yeah, definitely. So you don't really realize as you grow up the kind of opportunities that I have had compared to my mum and dad. English, although they both speak English, mum's very, very good English, dad's not so good English, but it's English, and he can perfectly fine communicating with people. But I have had the opportunities because I have been born here. I understand certain things that they may not understand, because I see things through the lens of being, someone who's born and raised in London. You know, London in itself is a, you know, West London. You know, it's my kind of perspective that they won't have, and therefore I've been able to get things that they haven't been had the opportunity to be exposed to, you know. And I'm sure I haven't had opportunities that other people have had the opportunity to be exposed to here.
For sure, yeah. And I was gonna say something, you know, some people may perceive kind of growing up in a working class environment, or, you know, having parents from a foreign country, they might see that as a way, you know, as a reason to hold them back from what they want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel that way, or how did your mindset around that?
It's really interesting because I never thought it would hold me back at all. So I was born and raised West London, council estate upbringing, people on the estate, you know, very much like me, you know, Asian people, black people, white people, Chinese people, all sorts of people, an eclectic mix of diversity. School, exactly the same, you know, very, very diverse, because we're in London. You know, 40% of people in London are from black and ethnic minority backgrounds. But at the same time, in my career, I've seen different industries have different different people. So, you know, I've worked in retail, very diverse in retail. I've worked in, you know, the digital space. You know, I was at Amazon for a while, very diverse again. I'm currently in property, not so diverse. So for me, I think where you're asking the question, did I realise that, you know, my background was different? Did it have an impact on who I am and what I do? Yes, up to a certain point, in property. So, you know, being in those other environments, you kind of don't think, because you see people and you're like, oh, the CEO's Asian. Oh, okay. You don't even think about it. But then when you're in a space where actually you are one of the minorities, that's when you realise it. And then you start to think, okay, I am a minority, and actually there aren't any people like me who are at a senior level. What can I do about it? Or you could go, what can I do about it? Or I can't do anything about it. There's two perspectives of what you can do, because although I'm not, I keep saying you, but yeah. Although I'm not, I don't have a role model, an Asian woman, or, you know, there are some Asian men, but you know, talking about top level, I don't have that role model in my workplace, but I do have women who are role models in my workplace. And actually, I do have men who have characteristics that I actually really like, that I think, yes, I like that care that you're giving to your team members, or I like that, you know, level of professionalism. Like, there's things that I can take away from different people. And then I remember actually one time a lady stopped me, a friend of mine at work, she's become a friend, stopped me, and she is from an Afro Caribbean background, and she said to me, Enna, I see you all around the office, stomping around. I know when you're coming, but she said it's really inspirational to see you doing what you're doing. And I thought, God, like, I can be an inspiration to someone. That's the difference. You know, that's the difference. So if I say, I can't be bothered anymore, like, I keep knocking on this door, it's not opening, I'm going to leave, then I then, as a business, we lose that role model figure in me that I'm giving to other people. And it's not just me, it's any woman, any, you know, woman of colour or man of colour who is at that level that thinks, I can't be bothered anymore. You know, I think you have to judge it on the basis of the environment that you're in. So if you keep knocking on that door and actually think it's edging, you know, open little by little, then stay. But if you actually think it's completely closed and you think it's not going to open, even the letterbox is glued closed, then, you know, you need to rethink being in that company because there are opportunities out there.
Yeah, and I think, and when like if you do leave a company like that, it's eventually going, like, it's going to be their loss because they're going to lose on the rich diversity of their staff and of their team.
Yeah,
and everything that which that brings.
100%.
And I think that's a really positive thing, to be as diverse as we can, because you get all these different ideas, perspectives, and, you know, it's much easier to then to really, I suppose, understand how people feel in their own experience, and we can all learn from each other.
Yeah,
And just having those really clear conversations is so important. The freedom to be open about things and what we're experiencing, what we feel like might that could potentially hold us back from achieving things that, you know we can. But then there are things, be it in a certain workplace environment, which unfairly holds people back.
Yeah, I'm really lucky because I think that where I am in the business that I'm in is supportive of diversity. Yeah, I know that in terms of change can take time. I think you have to play it, if you are a person who is trying to drive change in your business around diversity, I think it's important that you understand what you're trying to achieve. And I think it's important to make sure that the leadership team are on your side, because if they're not on your side and it's just lip service and a tick box, then all of your hard work is going to go into the bin. If you put your name on something, especially something as important as race or faith, then you need to make sure that it's going to drive change. And, you know, there's lots of talk at the moment in terms of, you know, our businesses doing things just because, and it has to start from the culture, from the leadership. And the best way to do it is to commit, get the business to commit to certain things that they want to do with an expert, you know, maybe get some external support that you can commit to as a business, to say, actually, we're going to set some metrics against this. So at every single level within the business, we are going to do X, Y, and Z in order to get more diversity. In order to get these metrics, we're then going to, you know, change the recruitment process, or we're going to change the training program. We're going to look at the communication that we're sending out. And the more open and transparent that the business can be about this commitment, the more accountability there is. And the more accountability there is, the more demand there is from the business in order for them to achieve what they've set out to do. So it's super important, I think, if you're going to put your name to something, to make sure that it's not this, we're doing it just because it looks like the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, it has to be real.
Yeah,
real change.
And you've mentioned there about, you know, being more creative. So where you have a diverse, you know, workforce, you then have more creativity, and there's a commercial value in having a diverse, you know, workforce, because you get more ideas bring you more opportunities, and then, you know, it's more commercially valuable. But not only that, I mean, businesses now are seeing that clients, their customers, are wanting a more diverse workforce. So you look at, you know, I was looking at Sharon White, who I absolutely adore. She's got no idea who I am, but she is the chairwoman of John Lewis, and she's done some amazing things across her career. And you know, she's starting from the inside. Look at the inside, look at the business, and then, you know, filter that out to customers. And I watched a video of hers, I think it was on YouTube, and she said something about the television and film industry. And she said, you know, BBC are they need to, you know, stay with the times in order to make sure that their customers are seeing diversity on screen. And you know, Netflix and these younger businesses that are, you know, really super successful are making sure that they do that. So the BBC has to compete on a diversity level with these businesses. Otherwise, they're going to be like, you know, bye-bye, BBC. That's not impossible.
Yeah, for sure. But I suppose though you say like they should, you would kind of think that a business would want that, you know.
Yeah.
Not just like what you say, just to kind of tick a box. It's actually, well, no, it's actually, it's a good thing. It's something that you would want to do. Like, why would you not want that, you know?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think though that there are these echo chambers in businesses where, you know, it is white, stale and white, male and stale, I think it is. And, you know, they're like, well, why do I need to? We're super successful. Why do we need to? Well, actually, it's, you know, imperative that you do, because if you want to be here in, you know, 10, 20 years time, then you're going to have to.
Yeah, and it's just kind of, we also got used to kind of to hearing like one voice, you know.
Yeah.
This kind of male white voice has been very loud for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
It's definitely it's time to hear some other voices.
Yeah.
You know, just as much as we hear the white male voice, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I think so, and I think it takes commitment. You know, I hear people say to me, I want change, but I'm not willing to do the hard work.
Yeah.
And that really annoys me. I know that I shouldn't let it annoy me, but it does, because I think, well, then don't complain, because if you want to do something, like the minute you go, I'm in this, you are accountable, because you're part of that change. So if you're not happy with how things are being run, then be part of the team that makes sure that the people who are running it are doing it differently. And I've only come to realise that recently, because I was one of the people that was like, oh, this is stupid. Like, why do we do things like this? And then I was like, actually, no, I want to be part of this. So that kind of commitment, and it's hard work, because a lot of the times people in their workplaces or whatever environment they're in have to do another job. You know, they have to do their other job as well as driving another initiative. But it just depends on how committed you feel you can be to that cause.
But do you also feel that, you know, it's also the responsibility of those in charge as well to take on that cause, rather than just leave it to those who are trying to fight that cause, if you know what I mean? It's almost like I feel like if we kind of very broadly kind of speak about like the idea of the white man, surely it's his collective responsibility to be accountable for the role that they collectively play, rather than just expecting those who have been whose voices have been suppressed, like it's up to them to be like, oh, you know, hear me, you know. It's like, well, shouldn't it kind of maybe be the other way around?
Yeah,
because they're in those high up they're in the high up positions. They have the power.
Yeah, I do. I think that's a really good important point. And I think that you're right. I'm not saying that we should alleviate all responsibility from people who are leading. I think the leaders do have responsibility ultimately for this.
Yeah.
But what I have seen, not just in the business that I'm in, but in other businesses from my friends and people that I speak to, is that there's a lot of uncertainty around what should be done or could be done. So it's a bit like you need the support and the kind of investment from that leadership team. And that investment can lead to, you know, an external person supporting you, because if you don't know what you're doing, then you need that external expertise. But then you've got the voice of actually someone who's in it, who understands what's happening, or who has got the ear of other people who might be too scared to come forward, to then work with that group to help drive things forward. So what we're seeing there is this collaborative effort from people that isn't one-sided, because if you did have one side, then you would have this whole leadership team who actually don't understand what's going on the ground and how it's impacting people, making decisions that then impact these people, that then they go, oh, why did you do it like this? So you need everyone working together. Now this responsibility thing is a massive thing, because it's like people on the ground are like, I don't know how to do this. Why are you asking me to do this? I'm not an expert. And then that's why you need that expert who's totally, you know, got that kind of gravitas, got that presence to say to this leadership team, this is wrong, this is what needs to change, and this is how I advise you to do it. So it's everything. And then you've got the leadership team that are probably like, this is a big investment, but you've got to be able to say, well, this is why we think this is the right thing to do with this investment, because if you don't, then you're going to lose X amount of people who will go to these companies that are diverse, and you're going to have to end up spending more money anyway. So invest so that you can keep these talented people in your business. So I think there's no magic formula. I think each business is different, and I'm by no means any expert at this, but it's just from my experiences of what I'm seeing at the moment and people that I'm speaking to, that I feel that there's this uncertainty, there's this kind of push for, we want things to change, and then we need this whole kind of expertise, someone, a business or even who's done something like this before that can say, this works, try this.
Yeah, that's great. And but also what you said as well, kind of how you inspired your colleagues as well. I think those things are really important too, because you had that confidence in yourself to go for the roles that you want, to try to break down that door.
Yeah.
So it does take people like you as well to have that courage and to inspire others, and to show them, look, if I can do this, you can do this. Like, we can all do this.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, if I look back to 5 years ago, when my confidence was at a real low, I couldn't have said to you then that I would be doing what I'm doing now. Just that internal dialogue that I'm saying to myself, every day, you can do this. This is what you're going to achieve today. Just that kind of confidence of internally speaking to myself has had an impact on how I achieve things on a day-to-day basis. So in terms of breaking down doors, I think that it starts with, from what you're saying to yourself and what you think you want to achieve. Now, I haven't always, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said, I'm going to be, trying to drive with a group of people, a race and faith initiative. I wouldn't have said, no way, me, how could I have, But you kind of find yourself in these situations where if you're not going to do it, then who the hell is going to do it? and actually you feel strongly enough to do something that you're going to put yourself out there to do it, because the purpose, the cause is bigger than yourself. And so you think, well, I'm going to do it because it's not about me anymore. Like, 5 years ago, it was about me standing up in front of people, doing a presentation. Will they like me? Will they, will I succeed? Will this, help me with a promotion? Will this help me gain popularity? Now it's like, well, I am who I am, who I am, who I am, which is what my partner always says to me. You are who you are. You can't really help how other people feel about you. You've got to just feel good about yourself inside, and make sure that works for you. And if it does work for you, great. If it doesn't, try and figure out why not. And so in terms of breaking down barriers, I think that I've had to put myself out there, had to make myself look stupid sometimes, but learn the lessons from that.
So if I was to say, like, let's say there was a young woman going through the same kind of experiences that you were going through, what would your advice be to her? Like, when you have these dreams, but then at the same time you feel like you have all this self-doubt, what would you advise and say, okay, like, where's a good place to start?
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
because I think that there's so many things. I think if there was a young girl who was like me, let's say if I was talking to my younger self, I would say, figure out what you want.
Yeah, that's so important. Be clear on not just like what you want, but also why you want it.
Yeah, the Simon Sinek. Why?
I love a bit of Simon.
Why? Yeah. So why do you want something? What do you want? And how do you think you can get there? And, I remember one of my first speeches at Toastmasters, which is the icebreaker speech, where we talk for 5 minutes on ourselves. And I think that, I said that I like making lists. I have like a Post-it note. I have like a Trello list. But it's important, because if you understand what you want, why, like you say, why you want something, and you kind of can figure out the steps of how to get there, then that's your plan, isn't it? That's your plan. Because if, say, your purpose is, I want to get a really good job, I want to get a really good job to support my family, to be able to get out of the situation that I'm in today, and live the life that I want to live. That the purpose is because you see, you have people who have purpose, who say, my purpose is to help people. Okay, fair enough, that's your purpose. But if your purpose is, actually, I want to help myself, I want to get out of the situation that I'm in so that I can help the people around me, and live the life I want to live, then that is a really good purpose for you to understand what you need to do next. So I want to have a really good career so I can help have the life I want, so I can help the people around me. Okay, so what kind of career do you want? What skills do you need for that career? How can you get those skills? Who can help you with those skills? Can you speak to someone, say you don't have any money, can you speak to someone and say, can I get some experience? Just yesterday I contacted my plumber, who has been my plumber for 10 years, who I absolutely trust. And I asked him if he could support someone who I know who's been made redundant and help them for a week to get some plumbing skills. It's okay. That person wants to be a plumber. Okay, there you go. A week's free experience for you. Yes, the plumber gets a free helper, but this person is starting from scratch. So it's, what kind of small things can you do to get to where you want to get to? And I honestly do think you need to write it out. You write it out so that you've got it written down, so that you can refer to it. And you might not refer to it for, 6 months, but you can look back and go, oh, that's what I said I was going to do. that's where I am today. What's gone wrong?
Yeah.
I did not contact that plumber. No, but you know what I mean? At least it's written down, and because in here, it's all a bit of a mess, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's all a bit of a mess sometimes. You've got to clarify what it is you want
Totally.
in your head, and writing things down can help.
Yeah, I completely agree. Definitely. It really does help to write things down. But also you might find quite a lot of people, well, actually, I'm not really clear on, because I have all these, like, I'm the kind of person, I want to do this, I want to do that. I have loads of different ideas. So how would you start to get clear on what it is, like to find out what it is that you actually want to do? Because, we also have loads of different ideas of things that we do, that we want to do. And
I think it's really hard. So if I look at my career, I wouldn't have said that, that I would be doing what I'm doing. So I work in customer experience. We're doing public speaking coaching. We coach people. So my point is that I think you need to find out what it is you think you're good at, what it is you enjoy, what it is you would like to do. And it's not that you have this open box all the time, because, opportunities don't always come to everyone, and people who do get to do what they do and they really love it and get paid, really well, are really, really, fortunate and hardworking, and whatever their situation is meant that they've landed in this place. But it's really being realistic. It's being realistic. It's looking at your skill set, looking at what you enjoy doing, and looking at the opportunities around you to get to what you want to do. And that's, my way is speaking to people, speak to different people, contact people on LinkedIn. You'd be surprised about the amount of people I've contacted on LinkedIn who've been willing to help me, who've been willing to say, yes, I'll give you an hour of my time to talk you through this. And even if you can't find anyone who might, be open to giving you time, they might be able to recommend someone else to you who might be able to support you. And you might want to find yourself a mentor, someone who can help you. A lot of people don't like the title mentor because they feel like it's a responsibility. So maybe just have a casual chat with someone who you respect and admire, once a quarter, have a coffee, keep yourself, on track with them, and just make it really casual rather than a formal mentor and mentee relationship.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really, really, really good advice. And just one thing I would ask though is, you said like the importance of being able to reach out to people. I think that's so key. But then a lot of people, and I think probably maybe yourself at one point, kind of, you also need to have the confidence to reach out to those people. Because I know with myself, sometimes I think, oh, well, I don't really want to message this person. I don't know, like they're not going to have time. You have all this kind of self-talk, although they're not going to want to talk to me,
Yeah.
So can you talk to me a bit about how to get the confidence to reach out to people?
Yeah.
Are you just kind of don't care, just like full steam ahead? Just
for
let's
me,
go for it.
I mean, it's different for me, I think, because I'm more like, what do I want to achieve at the end of this? So an example of this is I've seen, let me see how many times I've done this actually. I've seen a job that's been advertised before, and I've gone, okay, this is the company name. This job's advertised. I'm not going to go through the normal route and apply for this job. I'm going to go on LinkedIn, contact the person who runs the business, or it might not be, it might be like the department head, and say, look, I've seen this job. I've got this experience. Can we have a coffee? Type of thing. And it's worked in my favour. So that person has then contacted me, or then I've contacted the recruitment company if that person on LinkedIn hasn't contacted me, and I've said, look, I've seen this job. I've contacted this person on LinkedIn. and I'm just waiting for them to get back to me. And then that recruitment company's like, oh my God, let's get onto this straight away and let's contact the company. Because then you get, you know, they're like, oh, she's contacted the company and they want to make sure that they're dealing with the company in the right way. But that's because I had that experience at that level, right? I was probably 30 something. If you don't have the experience and you are unsure what to do when to contact people, I think you do need to go in with a bit of a strategy, which is, for me, it would be contacting them in the best way that you can. LinkedIn's quite hard because it's quite impersonal and people do get a lot of LinkedIn requests. I've been quite lucky with mine. So I would see if you could find a way of speaking to them if you can. I know that's really hard, but if not, then sending them a LinkedIn message or sending them a message to their company with a bit of background about yourself. What do you want to get out of that relationship? You know, maybe it's not even asking for a relationship at that stage. Maybe it's just a bit about you, about I'm in this position. I really admire what you do. I want to gain skills on this. I just wondered if we can have a quick coffee for half an hour. Or a chat for half an hour with everything being virtual now. It's easier for people to commit to that now because they don't have to go anywhere. It's a quick Zoom, you know. And I think just think about what you want to, like, why you want to do what you're doing. That connection with that person will help you get to where you want to get to. You're protected because you don't even have to meet that person face to face. It's on Zoom. So, you know, now's the time to do it. Go for it and try it and see if it works. And the more you do it, it's the easier it'll get.
That's so true. And I think what really comes across to me from what you're saying, the importance of like being like super proactive. Like you can't just kind of have this like dream or idea and just like sit back and kind of hope for the best.
Yeah.
You really need to grab each chance you have and like go for it.
100%. Me and my sister are complete opposites like that. Yeah. My dad, when we were younger, he'd be like, would you like £10? You know, and I'd be like, yes, I want the £10. My sister would be like, no, Dad, it's fine. I've got a bit of money. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like we were completely opposite in terms of the opportunities that we would take. So I would say, you know, take every opportunity that comes your way. If you think it's a good opportunity, you know, judge it. But take, you know, if you think it's good for what you want to achieve and, you know, goes back to your higher purpose, then go for it. But go out there to find those opportunities. You know, ask people for things. I'm sorry, but I have asked, you know, I've asked for pay rises. I've asked for the job title change. I've asked for the things that I want. And I've been knocked down, you know, a load of times. But you know, and then I've made a judgment. Okay, I've been knocked back. They've said no. Do I want to stay in this place or do I want to go? Are there other opportunities out there for me, or is this opportunity worth sticking with because it's going to help me get to where I want to get to in the long term? So sometimes you don't get what you want straight away, but actually it might take 2 or 3 years for you to get what you want to get in that company. It might mean that you need to gain more skills in order to get to what you want to get to, but don't forget, learning skills is a value in itself, because that's then priceless, because those skills help you to get to the next level and then to the next level if that's what you want.
Yeah, that's so true. And like and then with what you said about, yeah, you might try for things, you might go for it, and it might be a no, but you have to keep going.
Yeah, and understand why that no is a no.
Yeah.
You know, why is that no a no? Is it because I need to get better at certain things? Well, tell me what that is, because then I'll, you know, go away and work on it if that's what you want to do. And you're always going to be tested. You know, is this what I really want? Is this career the right career for me? Am I good at this career? And no's are a test. They're a test to, you know, are you going to get to where you want to get to? And what you're going to do with that no. And I just think every time I get a no, that it makes me work harder. It makes me work harder and makes me perform better. And sometimes I've taken no's and I've just gone, fuck you, I'm not going to stay here.
Yeah.
I'm going, mate. You're not worth it. You're not worth it.
Yeah.
And I hope I've made the right decisions. In fact, I know I've made the right decisions, because the businesses where I've said no, those businesses have then not been very successful. And I actually think what you were saying earlier about leadership, the integrity of leadership and the people around you is so important, because if you don't believe in your boss, or you don't believe in that overall leadership of the business, then I would really question why you would stay in that place, because that has an impact on you, because it then cascades down to your integrity. You may not know it, but it will cascade down, and to your decision making. So I would say, in the places where my bosses haven't been good leaders, are the places where I've gone, I'm not staying. You're not worth it.
Totally, 100%. I completely agree with you in that. That's brilliant. But now I just to, because we've talked quite a bit about, you know, your workplace, but now you're also branching off to do public speaking coaching as well.
I am.
So what's been the inspiration behind that? I imagine it's like, you know, the experience of being scared to present in front of people, or to speak to people who are in authority.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you kind of have the confidence now,
Yes.
to be able to do that.
Yeah, I do. It's a growing confidence though,
Yeah.
Susie. It's not, you know, overnight, you know, oh wow, yeah, I'm going to make you a star. You know, it's not that. It's very, very subtle. And I think that one of the things I've realised is that for people I've seen who are successful, I've in my head I've gone, why them? Why not me? And then I've thought, I can do that. I can do what she's doing. And there's nothing that is stopping me apart from what's up here. And so I've realised through speaking to people about public speaking and their barriers, it all starts with what's in here. And the reason why I started the public speaking business is because I know that what we've been through is, so the journey that we've been through, the practice, the pressure of having to do a speech, or the excitement of doing a speech and it being a success, is something that can be learned. It's something that can be practiced, and people don't need to be stuck in a corner feeling like they have to put up with stuff, because they don't have to put up with it. They can get out of that corner that they're stuck in and really, really develop themselves. And it all starts with what's in here. You know, it's that communication, that internal dialogue that then needs to just really permeate through your whole body and through everything that you do. And that's why I'm doing it, because I want to help people. And I know that what we've done with people so far, because we're doing our own thing together, is helping people.
Definitely. And I think what you said there as well, like, yeah, it has to start in your mind, but it's not only like what you say to yourself, it's actually how you show up, how you behave. Like that's like the real key. Yeah. You have to actually do the work.
You have to do the work. You have to be committed, because it's, you know, this whole thing of turn up once a month, do a presentation the next day. The presentation was a success, but actually what's happening, 90% of our dialogue is impromptu speaking with people. What's the perception of people when you're speaking with people on your day-to-day? And this whole thing of showing up, I think, is super, yes, it's important, but show up and be your authentic self, you know, be who you want to be. That's my view. It might not be everyone's view. Be who you want to be. And I was talking about this with Trevor, my fiance, last night, that we as two individuals, people of colour, in environments where there is mainly white male people running the show, we've had to not conform, but we've had to really be considered in the way that we approach things. So we've had to, you know, there's been times where I've I'm much more relaxed in the way that I go to work now, because our business code, dress code has changed. But when you work in a corporate environment, you're in these kind of stiff dresses. It's not who you really are. You're wearing this kind of power kind of outfit in order to be seen in a room that is full of men, or to have a voice. So you kind of have to you have to have a balance of what's right for you in the environment that you're in, and really be authentic to yourself. So I was saying to you the other day that in my 360 review, one of the pieces of feedback was, Enna's got her own strong brand, but I think she needs to consider how she speaks to senior people sometimes, which is fine. I do get it. We do have to make sure that when you're speaking to different people, you're adapting to, who they are, their disc code, whatever that is. But I don't want to lose myself, and I'd rather be myself than be someone else. And I'd rather lose that opportunity for a promotion if it means that I have to be someone else.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Definitely, you have to be true to yourself.
Yeah. So I don't think that's what they were saying, really. Maybe it was more about my communication rather than trying to change myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that if you're not yourself in your communication, even, and yes, we know we need to change our communication depending on who our audience is, but I fear that if you do too much of that, you then lose your sense of being comfortable with yourself. If you lose your sense of being comfortable with yourself, you lose your confidence. If you lose your confidence, people won't believe in what you're saying because you won't believe in what you're saying. So I feel it's all connected.
Yeah, that's really, really powerful and so, so true. Well, we've had such a great conversation. We could keep talking so much more. Some really, really great topics. But it's time to wrap up now. And I'll just ask you like my questions that I ask every guest at the end. And so what have been like some of the key practices that have helped you to overcome challenges and attain success?
I think my key practices are to believe in my drive. So drive for me is really important. So I really believe in commitment in terms of doing what I say I'm going to do. So for me, an example of living that in practice is really getting the job done. Do you know what I mean? To 150% of my capability. So I don't shy away from work. I roll my sleeves up. I could pay someone to go and dye my mum and dad's hair, for example, but I will go and do that myself because I'm committed to my relationship with them. I want them to have nice hair. Yeah. I will make sure I go and do that, or my sister will go and do that, but it's that kind of seeing things through to the end. If you say you're going to do something, get it done. And no one's a robot. Like, you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered today, but it's that sense of what's going to help you get to where you want to get to. Have your off days, but get back on track as quickly as you can. So yeah, get stuff done with your drive. So keep your drive focused. Your drive is all, again, we start talking about this, this mental stuff. So, if you feel that you're falling off of your plan, off track with your plan, go back to where that drive is. And for me, it's, I do a bit of meditation. Meditation for me, was something that someone else did in some really nice field somewhere. But it's, a couple of minutes every day, wake up, deep breathing, really, really simple meditation technique. You could do it in the shower, you could do it on the train. For me, that just helps me to feel grounded. So that's a simple practice that I do every day, and helps me with my drive and then to get things done. And I would say that my other point in terms of how I achieve things is talking to people, because it's not all just about me, it's about the people around me, getting people's opinions of what's right, what's wrong. Like I have been in the past accused of just getting things done on my own, you know, and you know, I'm right, you know, but listening to people and seeing what they think is the you know, what's the right way of in their perspective, because you get more ideas and you get more people to say this is what would work, and then you get a better outcome that way.
Yeah, that sounds really great. And what do you value most, and how do you put it into practice?
In terms of materialistic things, or that?
Well,
like
I value, so something like, you know, my idea behind the question is, like, we have these values like love, courage, integrity, you know. So what I want to know is, like, instead of having them as conceptual ideas, how do we actually live them in practice? So like, what are the values that you would reach to, you know, to keep you going?
Yeah.
And then how would you practice those?
I think that everything for me boils down to my relationships with my family, especially. And I think that for me, commitment, love, and care are really important to me. And I live those in practice by making sure that I don't always live them in practice. Sometimes I, you know, finish work really late and I'm meant to be going to see my family, and I've been like, really sorry, I'm going to have to see you another day because I've had, you know, to do this. Now, I try not to do that. Obviously, now with me working from home most of the time, I'm not having to do that. But and I found it more productive to be at home, so I have more time to get stuff done. But it's being committed to, again, what you say you're going to do. So I want to make sure every week I see my family. I've got elderly parents. I try and see them twice a week, and I'm going to make sure that I do that. So an example of that is today we've got a social walk with Toastmasters. You know, I'm not going on that social walk because I'm taking my mum out, you know, and that's my commitment, my love, my care that I show in practice by splitting my time in a way that makes it work for what I want to achieve, but also being able to still see my family as often as I can and enjoying time with them. Yeah, so that's, and you know, in day-to-day practice, it's, you know, caring for the people that are around me, I guess. You know, how are you, what's going on, you know, caring. And you might not always be able to help, but just showing that you care, I think, is really important. I think it all starts with relationships.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Their relationships are key. I think there's a really good quote, something like the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships.
Yeah, that's a really good quote. Really it's true. Funny, isn't it? Because, you know, if we think back, I mean, I don't know what you think about this, but I kind of feel that there was this kind of sense in the 80s or 90s where, you know, a boss needed to be a certain way, you know, this horrible boss. But that doesn't work anymore, and it doesn't work with relationships. Any relationship that you have all starts with care and empathy. And that's what will make you successful, because people will buy into you as a person. They won't buy into your product or what you're selling to them. It's who you are. And the same for, you know, the relationships. I kind of struggle a lot in the past with, you know, do I give, you know, if your boss is calling or your mum's calling, which phone do you answer? If you've got two phones.
Yeah. If
you've got two phones, you're quite lucky. You're doing well.
Yeah.
But which one do you answer? In the past, you know, it would have been my boss. But actually now it's my mum. You know, and I know that sounds really weird, but for me, that's what's important to me.
Of course, yeah.
And that drives me to kind of do what I do.
Amazing. I really love it. Thank you so much, Enna.
Thank
This has
you.
been great. Now, if someone would like to find out a bit more about what you do, where is the best place to find you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that the best place to find me would be on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Shine Bright
Mm-hmm.
Speaking
Mm-hmm.
is the handle.
Yeah.
So
I'll
yeah,
make sure to include all of your links and stuff.
thank you. Thank you, Susie. It's been
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Enna, and I can't wait to see what more you'll have in store for us. We'll have you back on to hear what's coming up next in your journey
Yeah.
later on.
I can do my 7-minute abs workout with
Yeah.
you the next time.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Enna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this podcast, please remember to subscribe. And if you think that this episode would be beneficial for someone, please make sure to share with your friends. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time.